People, welcome back to Peniros, man. And the first thing I'd like you to do is like and subscribe. It'll really help the channel out, you know. Sometimes you forget. I know how it is, you know, clicking through the internet and whatnot, but like and subscribe. Now, marijuana is the topic today. Marijuana, you know, weed. Now, we noticed over the years, a lot of places on this earth are legalizing the weed. Now, over here in UK, it's not legalized. You know, they're probably trying to work brain what to do, how exactly to pull this off, so they can get their cut, you know what I'm saying? But over here, over the years, weed has really changed. It has really changed, you know? Not only the prices, you know, for those that know, you used to have to get an ounce for like £100 of you know, some good weed, you know. Don't really see too much of the stickies no more. And there's a few weeds back in the day, and I ain't talking about skunk, that you don't see them anymore, you know, and it's a damn shame, you know. But what I will tell you now is that some of these weeds that are out now, that's like, they look lovely, you know. They might even, some of them might even have a little smell to it, but when you smoke it, it's like you're smoking Jumanji. You know what I mean? It's like Jumanji weed, you know? And it's like, or like I used to say when people had bad weed, like, it smells like, it tastes like you're smoking props off EastEnders. You know, like the watered down weed that you can use on the set. Looks the part. It looks exactly the part. It's got the buds, everything, but when you break it down and you smoke it, garbage. You know, I've noticed that there's a lot of more strains now. That means there's a lot of more splicing. So if there's more splicing, that means that the original is getting chopped down. So much splicing going on, the original. And the reason why I'm saying the original is a clip that I want to share with you, okay? And it's really important, and especially for the ones that do smoke weed, or even if you're just thinking about starting to smoke weed. This is definitely something to look at, you know, because it makes you think why it's been manipulated. You understand? And I don't want to spoil it, you know. That's what I'm gonna say, okay? So make sure you check this footage out, you know. Light up your spliffs, you know, get your popcorn out and check this footage out, because it's very important. It's very important, okay? Check this out.
Loud and Molly are not just government tested. Loud and Molly are government produced. I'll be clear, when we are talking about loud, we're not talking about just cannabis, God's holy herb. No, sir. And by Molly, we're not talking about the MDMA that Merck Pharmaceuticals discovered in around 1912. In fact, Loud and Molly have the same author, Alexander Shulgin, a Jewish organic chemist who produced so many of the street drugs today. He is the key figure in producing this loud version of marijuana, and it is his formula of MDMA. His specific formula is what we now know as Molly. Alexander Shulgin, government scientist, he produced Loud because he did two things, which distinguishes Loud from cannabis. God produced cannabis for the benefit of man. Satan produced Loud as part of what the U.S. Army Chemical Corps officer, Colonel James Ketchum, what he described as his conquer by cannabis operation. U.S. Army Chemical Corps, their work with marijuana and its chemicals was part of what they described as their Conquer by Cannabis operation. Loud was produced to conquer a population, us. What makes Loud distinct is two things. It's loud because it has especially in comparison to the marijuana of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Loud has an excessively high level of THC and an excessively low level of CBD, because CBD is a natural check on THC. When God created cannabis, he created it. The reason cannabis can be described as a holy herb, the reason cannabis does have medicinal value is because God formulated the proportions so perfectly. The proportions of THC and CBD, for example, they synergize with each other in a way that CBD stays or stifles the negative effects of THC and enhances the positive effects of THC. But if you separate THC from the right proportion of CBD, that's like separating in the language of our lessons in the Nation of Islam. That's like separating the brown germ from the black germ. And we are taught that it's that process of separating the brown germ in us, the brown gene, separating it from the black gene that produced the Caucasian white man, the devil. The same applies here. Loud is a grafting out of CBD and a grafting up of THC. And so it has a more potent psychoactive impact. The other thing Alexander Shulgin did on behalf of the U.S. Army Chemical Corps and James Ketchum, the other thing he did was inserted a nitrogen atom inside the THC molecule. Why is that important? THC had always been unique among the psychoactive plants that can cause a psychoactive reaction. Cannabis was always unique because THC was non-alkaloid. It didn't have a nitrogen atom. Heroin, for example, morphine or opium, a plant that produces a psychoactive chemical. It's an alkaloid because its psychoactive property has nitrogen atoms in it. Now, of course, heroin is very addictive. Cannabis originally wasn't addictive. A chief reason for the difference is the non-alkaloid nature of cannabis. Initially, cannabis wasn't addictive because it did not have the chemical makeup necessary for addiction. It didn't have that nitrogen atom in it. It didn't have that alkaloid profile. Alexander Shulgin, on behalf of the U.S. government, fixed it. He inserted a nitrogen atom inside the THC molecule. Now, all marijuana products, all THC products that are made available, none of it is natural cannabis and natural THC. All of it is synthetic. The THC that's made available in all legal dispensaries, all of it, the THC is a synthetic THC molecule, initially called Adam's 9-carbon molecule. This is a synthetic, a fabricated, lab-created copy of natural THC with the nitrogen atom in it. And this is why, and I'll close on this, this is why loud is addictive. When you say you smoke every day, you got to smoke every day. I know the false narrative, while we have to smoke every day, we're busy saying weed ain't addictive. Well, weed wasn't addictive. But loud is profoundly addictive because it's a different chemical. And it was Alexander Shulgin who produced loud. It's Alexander Shulgin that produced the Molly. This name dropped in so much of hip hop today.
So people, there we have it. You know, to break it down, he's basically saying that the weed that we're smoking, it's not the original weed. Well, I'm sure we knew that anyway, because like I said before, there's so many different strains now. You know, Muhammad is saying basically that the original cannabis that was from the creator for us to use, not the new age way that we use it. You know, it can be used for treatment and things like that. He's saying that it wasn't addictive. And then man took the thing, done his thing to it, pushed it back out with addiction. And it's not really hard to believe, because when you look over the years, it's like a lot of people smoke weed. A lot of people smoke weed. Many people started smoking weed again because of the lockdown. I know people that gave up smoking and started smoking again because of the lockdown. So people, you can take this video how you want, but I just thought it was very interesting what you were saying, and I thought I'd share it with you, okay? So like I said before, like, share, subscribe, and I'll get back to you lot soon. Peace.